This is what Dr. Shea really gets hung up on. So, safety, maximum restraint. As soon as reasonable possible, any person restrained using the MRT who is in the prone position shall be placed in the following positions based on the type of restraint used. Now, you only see one, there's only A. If the hobble restraint device is used, the person shall be placed in the side recovery position. So Dr. Shea over and over and over claims there's a huge flaw in this policy. Nobody would know what if we don't use a hobble. What do we do with the person? It doesn't say, and it's just a ridiculous claim because people were trained on this. They know you use a hobble. They now know because of the way that this is, the hobble restraint device, this RIP hobble, is the only thing that they were authorized to use. They used to be authorized to use another hobble or another restraint device. Let me pull it up here. Older version of MRT. Okay, you see this? There used to be two. This other thing called the wrap restraint. Okay? So, but look at the similarities, okay? Here's the hop. This is the same thing, except they removed the wrap restraint. I don't know if the wrap restraint was too expensive. Wrap restraint didn't work very well, so they just got away with it, went away with it, and they literally just, they just deleted this out of here. Okay, so then it's just the one. So it does look like if you use this technique, then do the side recovery technique, and you're kind of thinking, well, there should be another option. There isn't another option. And it was trained. So, that's not an excuse. All the officers knew that this is the only option, but that the hobble restraint was the only option, and you had to place them in the side recovery position as soon as possible. Now, look at here. So, if the wrap restraint is like, oh, well, maybe there's this totally other procedure for this other restraint, and which was confusing, and which is why they failed so terribly on scene in front of Cup Foods that day. And nobody knew what to do if they did MRT and didn't use the hobble. If you use the wrap restraint, the person shall be placed in the side recovery position. I'll be damn. Or an upright seated position. So that I had talked about that earlier. Okay? So side recovery position was still required, or seat them, and that's it. And so again, Dr. Shea really talks about this policy as being a failed policy, really failed policy. Like this policy was to blame for a lot of the problems that they didn't know what to do because they didn't use a hobble, but they were still doing the MRT. So I'll tell you, they couldn't be doing the MRT if they didn't use the hobble. So they didn't do MRT. They thought about doing MRT. They thought about it. They got them in a position where they could hobble them, and then they never hobbled them. I think one of the officers even got a hobble, brought it over to the scene, but they chose not to. And I think it was Chauvin. I think he was like, no, we'll just hold them here. And I think the claim was, well, we thought EMS, the ambulance, would be there soon. Well, that's fine, but whatever, things happen. Response times are not exact, and so it is still your responsibility for what's happening right now. If somebody doesn't show up in time, in a timely manner, okay, you can yell at them later and question why they were so late, but at that moment, you still have to do all the right things, and all the right things are put this guy in the recovery position, and they didn't do it, and it was Derek Chauvin's fault.